and welcome to May. I'm Rebecca Dawson, and I'm just going to spend a few moments sharing with you what I'm experiencing, what's happening in the collective, and what the energetic experience is right now for humanity and as we expect it to unfold in the next few weeks. So there's some really big themes happening right now with time, timelines, identity, endings, and beginnings. And in this video, the second half of this video is a channeled message from the masters talking about what's happening with the timelines right now and what's happening for the human experience within that. So if you're anything like me, you have been experiencing a real confusion lately in terms of endings and beginnings with things. There's a really strong sense that any kind of direction that you've been having in life, anywhere you think you've been going, perhaps building towards, is suddenly collapsing or disappearing. The same thing with relationships, that friendships that have been there for a long time, relationships that have been feeling really solid, suddenly aren't there anymore. And the Masters actually gave us a little bit of a heads up about this at the beginning of 2021, in that as the unlocking of the time, what they call the time lock for the planet and the Earth reality was beginning to open, that we would see very sudden shifts in view. So I personally got the heads up that in around April or May, life was seeming like it was going along in this direction, and then suddenly there would be a sharp 90-degree left turn, because I'm often showing things in terms of symbolisms with visions like that. So sure enough, here we are in May, and I feel that many of us in the next few weeks are going to really be feeling that sudden shift in direction. Now, we're very used to, as humans, feeling shifts in directions in terms of movement. So suddenly we're going this way and now we're propelling along this way. What's different about this particular shift is that you will feel as if you are completely staying still and everything else is moving around you, so you don't have that sense of momentum or clear movement of direction like you would normally have. Because normally when there's a shift in your life or there's a new chapter that starts or something like that, especially for the collective, there's a sense of movement that goes with it. Now, we're not feeling that movement at this time because this isn't a third dimensional shift, which is always defined by movement and distance. This instead is a shift that is a shift in view. So for many of us, your reality is going to completely shift in view, which means that there will be major features of your landscape for reality, your daily life, the people that you're connected with, that can suddenly change view. And how this may sometimes be experienced is that people suddenly change their sense of personality, or perhaps they suddenly change their views and it doesn't agree with you anymore, or perhaps you're suddenly not interested in what was in front of you before, or it may seem as if people are losing interest in you. So we've known for a long time that the landscape of reality is changing as the dimensional frequency changes, but this is really the month in May where we actually start to see that happen. So I just want to encourage all of you to know that because you aren't feeling a sense of momentum with this, it's easy to feel very powerless. We can feel powerless when our reality around us changes or our view of our everyday life changes, but we don't feel any momentum or movement in a new direction. And so this powerlessness is incredibly strong right now, but it's pulsing also with a sense of liberty and freedom. So you may be experiencing a change between powerlessness one moment, sense of freedom the next, and it can be very, very confusing. And again, if there's no sense of direction to move with that, or no momentum for a new direction and no sense of speed, it can feel like you're a little bit stuck, or that perhaps you're a victim to your circumstance, or that somehow you're powerless in what's happening. So that's a super important theme this month. If you're feeling that powerlessness, just know that duality is coming to a peak. Powerlessness and sovereignty are staring each other right in the eyes, and we're going to be pulsing in and out of those. That's really our only sense of movement at the moment. That's the propulsion movement that we actually want. That's highly indicative of moving out of cycles of behavior and experience and blueprints for experience and into something completely new. So this is full this month of full circle, tying things up, people coming into your past and then disappearing again, trying to connect with people that you've always been able to connect with and suddenly you can't. So there's a lot of that going on at the moment. Take heart in knowing that it is a collective experience and that it's lining you up and freeing you up for what comes next. I love the visual representation of this in terms of a circus tent, and you've got that really solid pole down the middle. It's tied to the tent pegs around it with rope, and that solid pole, which is you in the center, has identified itself and positioned itself and relied on its sense of strength and presence in terms of its relationships, all those ropes to pegs. What we're finding now for many of us is that some of those ropes are getting cut, and it can feel as if your very sense of self is being threatened, or you don't know where you are anymore, or suddenly there's a sense of insecurity, when actually it's releasing you from needing those particular references for who you are, so that the totality of who you are can really start to be seen and known. So what's happening with the physical body at the moment? Lots of skin irritation still. So if you're feeling these rashes and skin irritation, skin breakouts, itchiness, all of this sort of thing, understand that the skin, intelligence of the skin and the nervous system is really starting to ramp up in terms of the skin, because remember, the skin is the interface between your internal reality and your external reality, and it's all starting to work together, which means that we're moving into an era of humanity where there's not a lot of distinction that's consciously experienced between the internal and external reality. So everything's starting to work together there, and wisdom is flowing in and out of the skin. Information is flowing in and out of the skin. Heart palpitations, sudden changes in heart pressure, blood pressure. Again, the circulatory system's interesting at the moment. I'm hearing this from a lot of people around the world. Blood vessels, issues with blood vessels as we start to get out of the old circulatory system. Remember, this isn't just physical, this is also indicative of what's happening collectively, and the blood vessels are often behaving differently to what we would expect them to. Things are moving in different directions. Things are escaping certain channels. So if you've got any irregular bleeding, if you've got any irregular circulatory issues, yes, get the assistance that you need, absolutely, in any form that feels right to you, but also understand that there's something bigger going on with that as well. Again, vision's really interesting. As we're adjusting to the new frequencies, we're beginning to see more than we could see before. And this is interesting because vision's moving in and out of focus. Left eye in particular, a lot of people having issues with that right now, and you're beginning to see what has always been there but wasn't available for the human consciousness until there was a collective shift in vibration. So the second sun that the masters have been talking about for some time now is starting to become very visible to some people. They're starting to see that lighter, brighter, more intense white light sun appear. Some people are seeing it in conjunction with the sun that we knew in third dimensional reality. There's all sorts of things that are appearing right now. Fantastic way to really play with this is start looking into nature, start looking at trees in particular, what's appearing there that you couldn't see before, what's actually becoming available to you that the human awareness couldn't focus on before. It's actually been a wonderful, wonderful gift, this sense of isolation we've been having, the experiences of quarantine that we've been having, because it's bringing our attention back to our immediate environment. And in our immediate environment, it's far easier for us to begin to develop and exercise the way that we see, the way that you see around your room, the way you see your family members, the way you see your garden, the way that you see your immediate environment is the first thing that's going to begin to change for you. So pay attention. What's appearing that wasn't there before? How do things look different to how they did before? Is colour changing? Is light changing? What's appearing? What's disappearing? Very, very important, because it's easy to sit and look at world events and say, well, we're waiting for change, when actually the change is your capacity to see beyond what you could see before, what was available to third dimensional and fourth dimensional human consciousness before is now being revealed. That's the lifting of the veil. So it's available right where you are, which leads us into the message from the Masters this month for May, which is focusing on where you are and watching all the timelines beginning to merge. I hope you enjoy it. I hope you have a wonderful May. I hope you use this time to really begin to explore your immediate environment and look for the change.
Greetings to you, blessed ones. Indeed, it is a time for knowing that you are exactly where you are. To know that your presence and your existence in this moment is absolute truth. In this way, your ability to acknowledge your presence in this moment as absolute truth brings forth a complete agreement of consciousness that allows more of what is available, more aspects of self, more of your cosmic awareness into this point in time and space. What is a convergence other than a pulling, a drawing, a natural attraction of all aspects of who and what you are into this present moment? This is truly what convergence is. It is truly what the Grand Galactic Union at this time is. It is a summoning, a calling, an agreement, a natural attraction, all towards the center point that is you, your presence, your awareness in this moment, in this time. We understand, as you understand, that there are multiple versions of time, multiple rhythms and threads of time that echo out throughout the cosmos and indeed beyond. But they all originate somewhere. They all begin somewhere. Is it a great central sun from whence all time begins? Is it a great central sun from which all aspects of life begin? If this is true, then is your reality, is your presence in this moment, at this exact time, an extension outwards, radiating from the great central sun? Or could it be that you are drawing the great central sun to you? That you are now the center point. That you are now the great central location, the great central force that brings, attracts, and draws all aspects of self to you. This is the great calling, the great summoning at this time. The great convergence. Indeed, it is the collapse. The collapse of what? Is it the collapse of self? No. It is the collapse of the distinction, the separation of timelines, the distinct separation of event. To bring it all into one moment, into one time. This is the supernova. But this is the supernova not of endings or beginnings, but of reunion, totality, complete awareness. Just as you in this moment can become so clear and aware that you are the great center point through which all timelines, all extensions of life are being called home to. You will begin to understand that that which is flooding your awareness, that which is rising within you, that which you believe may be causing disruption, but is in actuality a reckoning, a recognition, a remembrance, an awakening. This collapse towards you is the rebirth. It is the rebirth of possibility. The convergence of timelines is the end of probability and the birth again of possibility. For all of humanity, for all species within your galaxy and within the universe that you know. This is the Great Reset. It is the calling home again, all the permutations, all the timelines, all the versions of life, of yourself, of your reality, back to you, the great central sun, as you are in this moment, in this time, so that you can be birthed. How is it that you are human in this moment and in this time? How is it that your physicality is here as you hear these words? Because the human form is miraculous. The human form has the capacity to be the convergence point, to bring home all the timelines back to this, to the reality of your physical human self. Such is the genius, such is the consciousness, the true consciousness of each cell in your body. Such is the true nature of your human form. Do you not know, dear humans, that you are the ones who are the masters of time? Do you not know that you are always present where there are endings and beginnings? Do you not know that your physicality is your greatest gift? Do you not know that your physicality can more than accommodate multiple versions of time and space? Do you not know, dear humans, that ye are multidimensional? And as such, you are the ones that can reset life. In this, know, dear humans, that you are the living gods, and you draw all life to you, to your earth reality at this time. Earth, knowing itself as the beginning of life. Earth, remembering all that has occurred, all that could occur, and folding it all back into the bosom of Gaia. This is your great privilege and honor. Know where you are. Acknowledge your existence. Be deeply present with your physical body, and watch and feel and know and be aware that everything is returning to you. This is the return of the earth and the conscious humanity. Peace be with you.